Hello and welcome to Horse Illustrated's webinar series. My name is Mary Cage and I am the digital manager here at Horse Illustrated. So I'll be your host today. And of course, our guest this month is Hayden Kristal. Hayden, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I am so good. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just a quick intro. Hayden is a professional stand-up comedian and lifelong horse girl who has been a semi-finalist on America's Got Talent and a headliner at the Netflix Is a Joke Festival, but of course is most famously Chicken Elizabeth Nuggets mom and head carcass wrangler of Carcass Acres with 856,000 followers on Instagram and 888,000 on TikTok. So I think we have a lot of fun ground to cover today. But Hayden and I do always like to start these by asking if you can tell us how you very first fell in love with horses.
That is a great question. I don't even know if I can remember like falling in love with horses. I don't remember not loving horses.
Yeah.
Like I was just the classic horse obsessed little kid from the time I was like pre-memory. So I don't know what triggered it, but we got into horses because my parents sent me to a horse camp when I was a kid, like a dude ranch camp. So not like a Girl Scout camp where you ride once a week or whatever, but
Mhm.
like sun up till sundown every day. And then at the end of the camp, you could take a horse home on a 9-month lease. So like
Oh,
over
wow.
for $1. And my mom was also a horse girl who had never had horses and I managed to convince her to let us take a horse home. And we've had horses ever since then.
Wow. I have never heard of a camp like that, and that's the most incredible thing I think I've ever heard.
It's amazing. There's some really cool horse camps. Like if you're looking to just do horses, the camp that
Mhm.
I went to is still open. It's called, I'm not promoting officially, but it's called Black River Farm Ranch. And they're in Michigan. And they operate all summer. It's a girls' horse camp. And they also do a family weekend. So you can go with like, kids, adults, whatever. And they also do alumni weekend, which I go to every other year.
As you should. That is so cool. I love that.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. And then, of course, a big part of your life is comedy and content creation. So, when did those things kind of first become a big part of your life? How did that happen?
So I've been doing stand up since I was 22, I want to say, around there. And it's something that I really enjoy. I got into it. I had been teaching workshops and stuff in college, and by the time I graduated, I was paying for school by traveling to other people's school and then doing workshops there. And I like being in front of a crowd and talking to people, and I really liked making people laugh, and I figured out that was kind of the core of what I was interested in. So I started doing stand up and I started doing shows and kind of built a career there that took off. But then that's how I was making 100% of my income when COVID hit.
Mm.
And so um, obviously all live touring went away for a while. So
Mhm.
I was just kind of stuck at home on the farm with the horses. And I didn't know if live touring was ever going to come back.
Right.
So if I could edit for other people, because I've always liked social media, I've always liked making fun content. I was like, if I can figure out if I can learn how to video edit, then I can do that for some other comic and I can still be involved, even if if live touring doesn't really come back. I think that this is still going to be entertainment. And so
Yeah.
I started posting on TikTok because my friend got me into it, and they have the in-app video editor, and
Hmm.
that was scary to me than trying to learn how to use like Adobe or After
Yes.
Effects, any of those things. And so I just had hours and hours of footage of the horses because I was
Mhm.
again stuck home with nothing to do except bother them and be bothered by them.
Sure,
And
of
so
course.
uh, I just started posting to teach myself how to use different like editing features on the footage that I had or that I would get. And a couple of those videos took off. And then the one that really took off was the first one, me going to do a life check for Squidward. Got a call that there was a dead horse in the yard, me walking out. She's flat out and asking her if she was alive. That hit about 20 million views.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. I still think it's one of the highest like performing videos I've ever posted.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like, well, people really like this and I'm having a great time doing it. And then again, kind of like comedy, I kept doing it because it was something I enjoyed. And then it
Hmm.
slowly like oozed into everything else and took over.
Yeah. And just seems like such a natural fit because obviously you're able to, work. Well, the horses are kind of comedic themselves, of course, but you're able to work the comedy into it and be around the animals you love. And I think when things are natural like that, it just kind of makes sense when they take off the way that they do. I have to ask, that made me curious, is that where the name Carcass Acres came from? Or had you already established that?
Oh, Carcass Acres was somebody, we called it Carcass Time because Squid looks really dead. I had never had a horse that slept like fully out, as passed out as hard and as frequently as Squid does. Like from the moment we brought her home, she was just really comfortable and she would just plop down and sleeps like legs stiff. Like sometimes her mouth is open. She looks not okay.
Yeah.
Um, and so we started calling it Carcass Times, especially once we were getting calls like about the dead horse in the yard. We started calling it, and I sarcastically called it Carcass Acres one time in a video, and everybody was like, "Yeah, that's it." So
It fits. Yeah.
yeah, it does fit, and it's I don't feel like we're competing with anybody else. I feel like there's good brand
Yeah,
recognition.
probably not. Yeah. I think you're pretty safe there. Yeah. I love that for Squid. I love that she can just be so comfy at all times.
Too. That like I don't know if it's confidence or like low cortisol, like whatever it is. I wish that I had that ability. I can't even sleep
Awesome.
on like
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously, I could use some sleep like that. But so speaking of Squidward, can you kind of tell us about each of the equines in your life? I know there's quite a few, and I know we might head out there and see them, but just a quick little rundown of everybody.
yeah, we can do a quick little rundown. So we've got Squidward. She is the carcass time horse. She is a gosh, is she 16-year-old now? Quarter horse mare. We've got Chicken Elizabeth Nugget, who is a newly 7-year-old Gypsy Vanner. People are always curious because people think he's a Clydesdale. And then when we're in videos together, they're like, "Are you 9 feet tall? Like how tall?" Very low, only about 13 hands.
Yeah.
Um, and he's a Gypsy Vanner. And we've got Odin, who's our Norwegian Fjord. We've got Cheese, who's a quarter horse. Debbie from accounting, who's an Appaloosa mare. Um, we've got Donkey DeVito, who's a mini donkey. Dexter, who's a standard. And then our two newest carcasses here are Chimichanga, the mini mule, and Don Napkin, who is a mini donkey.
Love it.
Yeah.
Quite the collection, and they all have their own set of personalities for sure. Yeah. I think it's Odin you said doesn't get shown much because he's actually kind of like relatively well behaved compared to everybody.
It's relative, but yeah, he's the best
Yeah.
one. He was he's a fjord that my friend had that she bought off a dude ranch to be a husband horse.
Mm.
Husband fell in love with her like 2-year-old BLM Mustang and didn't want the 2-year-old like well broke dude ranch fjord, and she had a hip and wasn't physically able to sit on him because he's so wide. So we bought him because he's just the best. It's nice to have some like stability.
For sure. And then you tell Dexter he's the inspiration for pinatas and, need a horse pull for Debbie.
Like, well, yeah, Debbie would take the squid. The horse pull was supposed to be for Squid, but
yes.
Debbie will soak. Like she'll just like fall asleep with her feet in the water. Yeah.
That's what they're made for, obviously.
Yeah, that's why we put them there. Please put your feet in there. That's spend so much time cleaning it is because I'm hoping that you'll put more feet in it.
Exactly. That's what they think anyway. So, so obviously you really showcase the real aspects of horse ownership, and I know you've made some videos before about, how certain brands haven't wanted to do deals just because you don't show the majestic beings that horses are. But I think those of us who have actually spent an adequate amount of time around horses know that yes, they are beautiful animals, but they also have their quirks. So how important do you think it is to show that real side of equine ownership? Because obviously I feel like a lot of people have some preconceived notions about the horse world of it being this fancy, polished thing, whereas that's not always the case.
Yeah, I think this might be taking this a little like deeper and more philosophical direction than you maybe wanted this question
Go
to
for
go.
it.
But so I've been working a lot this like over the past year, I guess, with horse focused events, and so like different horse shows with equine affair, um, with some racehorse stables. I've been working with like different horse groups, and we've been talking about like content creation and um, like I'm being hired to do like in-person events, just trying to get people excited about coming out to these horse events. But one of the things that we've been talking about is that like every aspect of the horse industry is struggling.
Hmm.
Different places, different degrees, but numbers are dropping. There's fewer and people like going to horse shows, going to certain rodeos, going like participating. And I think part of that and what we've been talking about is that like the average person is so far removed from horses in their day-to-day life and from agriculture in general,
Yeah.
like way more so than they would have been even a generation or two ago. And if you don't have access to horses, I always say that horses have like way too good of PR and that they're painted beautiful, majestic animals. I think it's very intimidating. I like people are,
Sure.
people think it's expensive, they think it's fancy, they think it's bougie, and I think that there's all this stuff that like it can be, but a lot of us just are in horses because we love it, and you don't have to be rich, and you don't have to be, you don't have to show. You can just love them. You can go play with them, and I think that's part of the fun is that people are always so surprised that my horses are weird goofballs. Like people who don't know horses are always like, I didn't know that they were like that, but they are. I think that's part of what I love. I don't love them for the 12 seconds a day. They're like clean and like majestically galloping through the field. I love them because like I knew with the second that I showed up with this hat that Chicken Nugget was going to put it in his mouth. Like that's what I love.
Yeah.
I love is such a brat. I love that she's her own woman. Like, and I think that that's like what people relate to and what interests people. So I think the more we show like the real aspects of what horses are, I think the more people who are drawn to that are going to find it and be encouraged to get involved and participate, which is exciting to me as somebody who cares about this industry as a whole and horsemanship as a whole.
100%. I really love that approach. I myself, like I used to show, but then, as I entered college and adulthood and stuff, it just that was too much money, too much time, and I just enjoy being around them. Not even necessarily riding and things like that. Like you said, they all have their own personalities, and that's what, we love them for. And, Horse Illustrated itself, we're the magazine for people who just love horses. We're not necessarily for the top level of showing. Obviously, we have things for those people too, but it's just for anybody who loves and cares about horses. So I think that is a really great point, and I love that you make content for that. And kind of on that note, you mentioned that you've had audience members be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize horses were actually like this." Have you seen any of your audience members who maybe previously didn't have an interest in horses or know much about them kind of gain an interest in them from your content?
Oh yeah, and that's been really cool. Like I get messages like I don't know, it varies, but I get messages maybe once a month where somebody's like, I just signed up for my first riding lesson. Like, I've been watching you for years and I love your horses. And I just found out there's a place that does like therapy horses near me. So I signed up for the volunteer session.
Yeah.
Like, that's been so cool to see some people take it like into the real world. And then a really cool version of that was I work with the Big E State Fair. It's the East Coast. Like a couple different states work together on a gigantic state fair that's super fun. And last year I was there and I did a meet and greet during, they have a big 6-horse hitch competition. So these like 6-horse hitch draft teams like come in and compete, and it's so cool. And so I did my meet and greet like in the stands for that competition so that we could all watch. And of the like 30-ish people who showed up, like nobody knew anything about horses. Nobody had been to a horse show before. And so we started doing what I call Hayden's Horse Sports for Morons, where I just started talking them through what was happening and teaching them, like, okay, these are the different breeds. Like, I don't compete in this. I don't super know what I'm talking about, but I kind of know.
Right.
And by the end, like cheering for their favorites, and somebody like, this team came in and they're like, they're not going to place. They weren't close to the rail. And I'm like, you didn't know what breed of horse that was when you came in here.
Right.
But everybody had, and they were talking about how they would go back and watch more now that they understood it, like, because they got involved, they got excited. So
Yeah.
that's really cool for me, and it's something that I feel really lucky to be able to have a platform to help people connect with something that I loved, for people to be able to find that joy for themselves.
100%. I love that. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about making horses more accessible, even if it's just learning more about them and getting to enjoy watching them. Not necessarily, horse ownership can be a big, thing to tackle. Yeah. But even just learning to love the animal and learning more about them, I think, your content is perfect for that, and just kind of introducing the world to, how much fun these animals really are. Um,
Yeah,
but speaking of horse ownership or equine ownership, since you have everything, what do you find to be the most fulfilling part of having them in your life?
that's a really good question. I think for me, because again, I'm not like a breed specific person. We've got,
Yeah.
a little bit of everything, and I'm not a discipline specific person. I've ridden a little bit of everything. My mom showed saddle seat horses when I was growing up. We did dressage lessons and competed dressage. I, rode at the Dude Ranch, and I like, I ride side saddle. I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Um, but part of that is because I really enjoy watching them find stuff that they're good at and they enjoy. And I like, for me, the most fulfilling part is being able to like curate a life that they enjoy for them, and then watching them enjoy it. So like, um, when I see Squid passed out and she's out, and I know that she feels that comfortable, like, that's to me
Yeah.
is that's what I love most. Like, riding is fun and playing with them is fun, but like being able to take this animal and make it feel that safe and that comfortable, and that to me is my favorite part about owning them, about being able to be their person.
Yeah. No, it's really special when you're able to A, like build that bond with them, and then B, like you said, be able to create such a safe, comfortable space for them, because you're right. I mean, Squid wouldn't look like a carcass if she weren't comfortable and felt safe. So
Yeah. Well,
100%.
I work with a lot of different horse rescues.
Yeah.
Like, I like to do content with them, and I'll do promos. And I have my virtual fosters, which is
Hmm.
I just working with the ASPCA Right Horse program to post some of their horses to help get more eyes on them. And a couple years ago was right after I posted that video of Cheese getting his head stuck in the gate. I was getting,
Yes.
you have horses, there's
Yeah.
nothing like, if you haven't seen your horse do that something that stupid, it's because you don't have cameras or you don't have them at your house.
Yep.
They're doing it.
I
Promise you, they're
promise.
doing. But I went, and I was like, right after that, I was getting a lot of like backlash about how unsafe it was and that I was putting them in harm's way for reviews. And I went and did some content with United and Light Draft Horse Rescue in Montana, and I
Hmm.
was talking to runs that rescue, who's it's an amazing rescue for draft horses, and an amazing, I think they're a sanctuary too, like if a draft horse needs a last stop. And we were talking about that, and she said, "Do you know why I like to watch your videos?" She goes, "Because my horses don't do that. My horses don't get into stuff, and my horses don't put their head through gates, and my horses don't pick stuff up." And she goes, "Do you know why they don't do that? It's because I'm taking rescue cases." She's like, "Because I'm taking horses that were beaten into submission. I'm taking horses that don't have the energy to do that, horses who are in so much pain that they're not willing to like navigate or explore their environment." She's like, "So
Wow.
when I see your horses being themselves, when they're able to express themselves and their personality, and like, with correction, obviously we set boundaries. We don't let them do anything they want." She was
Right.
like, "But they can themselves, and like, they're not afraid they're going to get beaten for it." She's like, "That's what I love." And that was kind of a perspective shift for me in terms of like what I look for and why my animals are the way they are, and what
Yeah.
I get out of
Wow.
the environment.
I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah.
No, and it's like, but I see that too. Like when we like, it's been really beautiful to watch Don Napkin and Chimichanga since we brought them home. Like every day they get a little bit. There are new rescues for anybody who doesn't know, and every day they get a little more like themselves. They get
Yeah.
a little more pushy and like not even pushy, but like they're willing to like, well, is it okay? Like, can I lick you? Is it okay if I pick this up? Okay if I touch this thing? And it's been really awesome to watch them figure that out and become more comfortable and safe and like see who they are as individuals. So yeah, I was just one of like the most perspective shifting conversations I've had at United in Light.
Yeah, that's actually the perfect segue to what I was going to talk about next, and that is that you have been a proponent for equine adoption and that you recently adopted Chimichanga and Don Napkin. And, we here at Horse Illustrated are partners with ASPCA Right Horse too, and so we also really care about it. So, I mean, you already kind of dove into why you care about it, but just can you talk a bit about why you would maybe recommend someone to look into adoption as a choice for finding their next equine?
Yeah, 100%. So I will say off the bat, I am a really big proponent of ethical breeding and of adoption.
Yeah,
I've had, um, I have my rescue dogs are
love it.
sitting right here with me. But I think for me, starting to work with ASPCA Right Horse and like getting involved with horse rescue, like through making content, because I've always been a big like proponent of adoption if that's what fits your needs. If you have a lifestyle, like if you're not looking
Yeah.
for a specific like working animal.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't really think until I had always been like skeptical about horse adoption because I'm like, well, surely there can't be like sound, sane riding horses up for adoption. But through working with these different rescues and making this content and getting more involved on that side, like it's there's so many really fantastic horses who do need homes, who are safe and are sound and are rideable and wonderful and could not be more perfect for you, like what your family needs. That just, maybe they had an owner who lost their job or passed away, or there's all these circumstances where they end up there and they are just as deserving and needing of homes as any other horse. And um, as much as I like as much as I like a nice horse or like a purpose bred, beautiful, like well started, well maintained horse, like I also get a lot of satisfaction out of like knowing that I'm able to provide them something better, like
Yeah.
than they had. Like, hey, if you weren't here, like if Chicken Nugget wasn't here, like I got Chicken Nugget from a breeder, a breeder that I really like. Chicken Nugget was never, if he wasn't here, he would be with somebody else who loves him and you know what I mean? He would have a
Yeah.
good life. But
Yeah.
Chimichanga or Don Napkin, they came from a place where they didn't have that and they didn't have a family and they didn't have kids to love on them and now they do. And it just that I think is so rewarding.
Yeah, it's really special. And I think you're absolutely right that it's, and myself had the same notion that, equine adoption, yeah, they're just these rescue horses. And that's something that the adoption industry and ASPCA Right Horse is really working to kind of try to tear down that preconception of it all. Because like you said, you can find anything. Yes, you can find just a companion
Yeah,
only senior horse, or there's been, horses that have gone on to have remarkable show careers or be a lesson horse for a young kid. Like you can find just about anything through adoption. And I think that's
yeah,
really awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
And then again, you adopted Jimmy Chonga and Don Apkin from Equine Affair this year. So
I,
I'm sure that counts as an answer to the question I was about to ask, which is what are some of the highlights as far as where horses and this social media platform you have taken you?
yeah, I think that Chimmy, I hadn't thought about it that way. Now I'm gonna get emotional. But yeah, that is the culmination. Not that I care. That is kind of the
Right.
culmination that I got connected with Equine Affair through doing more social media stuff. And I don't know I don't know if I have said this publicly, but the reason I met Chimichanga and Dom Napkin is because, again, I was hired to go do content and be at Equine Affair and have fun, and I love Equine Affair, so I was down to do that. And I was like, well, let me promo the adoptables before I come in so that people know who they're looking for because we can get some eyes on them. And they sent me over this big list of like the ASPCA right horses that were going to be there. And obviously, when I saw Gary from accounting, Barb from Don Naptonga, I was like, those are names right up my alley. So
Yeah.
I posted about them. And then I got a message after I posted about them. I got a message from the Nexus Equine, the rescue that from, and they're like, we're glad you noticed because we knew we were going to bring them and we knew you were going to be, they named them at me.
Oh
like
my goodness.
They knew I was going to be there doing social media. So they named these horses at me.
That's
and
amazing.
I was like, well, joke's on you because now I have two of them. But yeah, that I would say is a big culmination. But I also have been talking about, I was talking with some comedy friends who we were talking about being like niche comics, like Horse Girl comic, or my friend Luke Severide loves metal music and has gotten to go tour with some metal bands and stuff, opening and doing comics. And we were just talking about like being like comics in our niche, and we were talking about like there was like comics who seem to not like their fans. We were like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, my fans rule. Like, I can pet a horse anywhere in the country. If I post in my stories, like, come like anywhere, I can go pet them, and I get to meet all these amazing people who are doing all these incredible things with their horses. Like, I'm grateful literally every day. And even to see like some of the horses that I posted got adopted. So it's not even I found family. It's knowing that other people are finding their own squids, their own chicken nuggets, and that happened because they saw a post on my page. Like, it's just been the whole thing. I know I sound very like Pollyanna about it, but I am. I'm just like, the whole thing has been so rewarding and grateful, and I'm so grateful for all of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, just the impact that your content alone has had in just getting people interested in horses and people going and taking those riding lessons or even taking a leap as big as adopting a horse. I think that's really, really special. And then, of course, you got to adopt two of your own little creatures.
Yeah.
So, and then a question, more so about advice and kind of for two different subsets of people. So what advice would you give to any prospective horse owners, maybe people who are considering, they've seen your videos and they want to welcome one into their life? And then maybe advice for any aspiring social media creators or comedians, and that doesn't have to be within the equine space.
Yeah. Well, the equine space is mine. So
Yes.
my advice to people who want to be horse comics is get out. No, we need more. If people are interested in getting into horses, I think like that they should. I'm very excited about that for them, and I'm always happy to talk to people about it because there's just so many avenues. And I think that my biggest advice would be to start small. And if you don't if you think of it as like what is it, like the triple dipper, like appetizer combo or whatever.
Yes.
Like, sample a little bit of everything and then
Yeah.
take what you like and leave what you don't. So if you are really interested in getting into horses and you've never done anything before, absolutely don't just go buy a horse, but find a lesson barn near you and go take a hunt seat lesson. And if you don't really love that, then go take a like Western equitation lesson. And if that's not really your thing, then try driving. And if that's not really your thing, then try mounted shooting. And if that's not really, like, there's so much you can do with it, including like, you don't have to ride to have horses. You can just love them. If that's your thing, find a rescue to volunteer at, like find a like therapy riding organization, someplace that just needs horses brushed and loved. Like, there's so many different ways to be involved that like, you just have to find your thing. And if you want to own horses, get involved, take lessons, lease, and work your way in, because it's not like having a dog. The learning curve is spectacular.
Yes.
I want you to be involved, and if you want to be involved, there's so many of us who want to help you get to that point where you can have your own horses and you feel safe and confident that you know what you're doing. like, we're here for you. We want you. Please come join us.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And I love that you touched on how much there is to do with horses. Like you can pick pretty much anything. A horse can probably do it. And like you said, you can just love them as a pet if you want, if that's your thing. So,
yeah, you don't
yeah.
have to like. You can just love horses to love horses. To me, like riding is like the least interesting thing about like day to day horse ownership. Um,
Sure.
and then for content creation, um, obviously, like I'm making a living doing content creation, and it's something that I really enjoy. I think that sometimes people think that it's um, like an easy button or a get rich quick button, and it is make stuff that you like because you like making it. Like that's how I started, and it's why I started. Like I could not, if you had asked me 5 years ago, I would like could not in a million years have told you that this is the direction that my life would take because of social media. But I like making the videos that I make, and as it's turned into more of a job, like I'm only able to keep doing this because I like doing it so much.
Hmm.
So that would be my first thing, is that if you like do it because you really want to, don't do it because you, and even for like for content creation for stand-ups, I see so many people being like, oh, I really hate posting videos, I hate making content. Then don't, because you're going to burn out. It's not sustainable. It has to be something that you can you continue to do. But I will say, like, if you the don't do what you think that like you should be doing or what other people are doing. If you do what you like to do and what you're passionate about and you're having fun making it, then that's also your audience, right?
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people trying to recreate other people's content, or even with stand up too. Like if you're not telling jokes that are you, like the audience you're building isn't going to be your audience, and you're not going to be happy. But if you love the audience that you've built, whether it's like millions of people or it's a handful of people, if that's your community, like that's fun. Like I like, again, do I like that I'm able to go do horse girl stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think my metalhead comedy friend would be as like he wouldn't get the same level of joy out of my audience. So do what you do, like showcase what you love to do, put
Yeah.
that part there, and the audience will come. And at that point, it doesn't matter if it's a giant audience or if it's more of a niche, but that's the joy and the connection there, I think, is going to be the most. That's the thing that you should be working towards, not as
Yeah.
like fame or whatever, but in finding people who love what you do as much as you do.
Yeah, just really connecting with that audience and making sure you yourself are fulfilled by what you're doing. And I think, it kind of like we talked about at the very beginning of this conversation, you turn to social media in the face of COVID and not having live shows. And like I said, I think because it was such a natural fit for you to showcase life with horses, that's why your audience grew the way it did, because it was just so natural. And I think that's a really important piece of advice. So. Yeah. Um, do you have anything exciting that may be coming up for you that you'd like to share?
Yeah, July next month, July 10th and 11th, I'm going to be in Kentucky. So on the 10th, I'm doing Stone Horse's Art of the Horse Gala, which I think is sold out, but I will be there. And then the next day, I will be in Louisville, Kentucky, at the Derby City Comedy Festival.
Oh,
So I'll be
perfect.
headlining there at Planet of the Tapes Comedy Club on July 11th. I have links to tickets and stuff in my bio, but it's going to be a big old horse girl party.
Heck
So I'm
yeah.
hoping to. Well, and I want to ride your horses. If you're in the Lexington or area, I would like to come pet. I would like to come ride. I'll be there all weekend. Um, Please let me do that.
I'm gonna give a fellow Horse Illustrated staff member a shout out because I know she's on here. She also has a horse named Cheese and lives in Lexington. So just saying.
But yeah,
Perfect. All right.
yeah,
Well, speaking of, we will go ahead and head to our audience Q&A. So I do have a few pre-submitted questions, so I'll get to those, and then you guys can feel free to send them in the chat or the Q&A, and then maybe we'll go see some of the critters. So real quick on these Pre-submitted questions. Rachel asked, how did Chicken Elizabeth Nugget get his name?
That was a great question. So Chicken Nugget came to me with the name King, which it didn't fit him at all. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my dog. I'm hard of hearing. Sign language is like my preferred language, and all of my dogs are deaf. So I haven't had a dog that could hear in a long time. And I had kind of forgotten that animals could like hear and learn their names if you say them to them in English. And so when Chicken Nugget was a baby, we were trying to come up with the perfect name for him, and nothing was sticking, but he was very little and he was brown. So I kept calling him my little chicken nugget. I was a little chicken nugget. What are you doing, little chicken nugget? And then he started responding to that. And he's not super bright. So I don't think I'm like, he learned it. That's it. We're not going to burden him with something else. I don't think he's enough courage. And then Elizabeth is all of my animals' middle names because I think it's the funnest name to yell when you're mad. And people, I part of I think why some of my videos have done well is because when I am mad, I try to say stuff that makes me laugh because I think it makes it easier to deal with being mad if you're laughing.
Yes.
It's like it's to be legit losing your mind if you're yelling Chicken Elizabeth Nugget at a horse, even if he's doing some stuff that's legit making you bonkers.
Right. No, I love that. Actually, it's really funny because my middle name is Elizabeth. So growing up, my dad would assign that as a middle name to all of our dogs. So it'd be like Jackson Elizabeth and Cody Elizabeth. So I love it.
It's the best. It's just such a good like mom voice name.
Yes. Yeah, it's got all the syllables and yeah.
Really crunch it up. It's the best.
Chef's kiss. Yes. All right. We have a couple of questions that Grace just submitted. The first being, and you mentioned you're hard of hearing, so I know this is part of your platform as well. If you can talk about using your platform to be an advocate for a lot of causes beyond just horses.
Yeah. So my background, I talked a little bit about I got into comedy through public speaking. And the thing that I was speaking about and teaching workshops about was intersectional accessibility. So how do we make our resources the most available to the widest range of whole people? So it's something that I think we see in horses. It's so great that that you are a magazine for horse people. Are you a magazine for Western horse people? Are you a magazine for English horse people? Are you a magazine for horse women? Are you a magazine for horse men? Are you a magazine for LGBTQ horse people? Are you a magazine for horse people of color? There's so many different identities and they knit together in different ways. So how can we use the resources that we already have to make our spaces the most accessible and the most welcoming to the widest group of people at all of these little different intersections of identity, and not just when people think of identity, but whole people. So horse people, people from rural backgrounds, people who I was doing a workshop about intersectional accessibility once, and I asked people for examples of identities that they held that they felt like might intersect in weird ways with other identities that maybe somebody who didn't have that one wouldn't think about. And one girl raised her hand and she was like, "Oh yeah, being an identical twin."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge part of your identity. And somebody else said being a former foster youth, and all these things that I think get missed sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And once my platform got bigger, it was I started thinking about how do I use this responsibly? I have there's a lot of power that comes with I have just over 3 million followers across that. And there's a lot of power with that, with being able to reach an audience of that size. And to me it was just what do I do with it and what do I want to do with it? And for me it was this, I guess in line with that, I had been creating these accessibility spaces and I think accessibility is the baseline. So not hiding different parts of my identity and speaking honestly about it, even when it's not super popular within the horse world niche that we're in.
Right.
But again, even when we're talking about, that goes back to like making the content that you want to make. Like, I'm okay if people don't think that making horses like a safe and accessible space for anybody who wants to be a part of it is important, then I'm okay if they're not in community with me.
Yep.
Like, that's where that I'm not really particularly interested in welcoming into my space and my life and giving my time and talents and like the product of what I've created to. Um, so I know I'm a rambler, but I hope that
Oh yeah, I think that was awesome. Yeah, and I think it covers an aspect of the accessibility to horses that we hadn't really already touched on. We were just talking about like, letting people see what you can do with horses and whatnot, but just the matter of making everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what your background is, knowing that, you're welcome in the horse world and the animals are going to welcome you no matter what. So, yeah,
yeah. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, I think that's been something really cool for me too, like as a lifelong equestrian, but as somebody like who, again, the horse world has all these different little bubbles that don't always necessarily interact, and it's been really cool for me to get to know people who are in all these different niches,
Yeah.
um, like to be able to help people find their people in horsemanship. Like, it really is for everybody, and I think that it
Yeah.
should be for everybody. And I would like to do what I can to show as many different people as possible that it is for you.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
You don't save your money. Like,
Real. Real.
I'm envious that you haven't been bitten by whatever bug causes us to have this horse
Bank
addiction.
account draining addiction. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question from Grace is, what are some of your favorite pieces of content that you've produced, and what are some things that you haven't done but hope to maybe do one day?
Oh, that's a Grace. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before, and that is a great question. Some of my favorite pieces of content that I've made. I'm really I'm really proud of anything where that like what I think the best answer is like the word crime bag, having carcass time, anything that like particularly of carcass time, like if I go into any horse group like on Facebook, I can find some post of somebody who maybe doesn't even know who I am using the phrase carcass time, and that is so cool to
Yeah.
have like to know that I've left a lasting imprint on like horse girl language.
Love it.
But also really proud of all the adoption content I've made, because I know, I know at least 3 or 4 horses who have been adopted directly because of posts that I made about them, and that
Awesome.
is like the most amazing feeling ever.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Oh, and
Um,
content I would
yeah,
like to
that
do,
you'd
or
like to.
um, content that I would like to do, more adoption stuff, and then I would love to start doing more, which again is my call out to anybody who's interested. I really enjoy getting to go cover different events and make content with people at those events, like I've done for Equine Affair and the Big E Horse Show. So I would love to go to just different kinds of horse events. So rodeos, races, like anything that you can think of, if it's horsey and you think that and you want me to come make content with you, I want to come make that content. We will have a good time. I want to come see what other people are doing with their horses. Because again, it's like I, as somebody who just rode saddle seat horses, would never have a reason to go to like an actual horse race or to go to a like a show jumping whatever or anything
Yeah.
outside of my, please invite me because
Yeah.
I want to come learn and make it fun.
Well, that ties in perfectly to our next two audience questions. But one is more, I mentioned our fellow staff member, Liz. She said, please come ride Cheese It. He is the goofiest goober and you'll love him. As a fellow Elizabeth, I feel like this is just perfect. So yeah, I'll get you guys in touch. Yeah. And then Jenny asked, again, tying into what you just said, is do you have a horse show or event that is a goal for you to visit or attend? And then, do you have a horse or rider that would make you fangirl if you met them?
um the event that I want to attend, um like I usually I always hem and haw because I but whatever, I'm just going to say it. I'll put it out there in the world. I really want to go to Equitana.
Yeah.
I really want them to not even necessarily bring me out, just allow me to cover it. I don't even need an official endorsement. Just look the other way, and I want to come do stuff with Equitana. Any sort of like international horse event is like the dream.
Yeah.
That's and then sorry, what was the other aspect to that? Was
Do you have a horse or rider that would make you fangirl if you met them?
oh I was at Briarfest last year,
Mhm.
and I was talking to someone about like I love when people love my animals as much as I do. I would say that's also been like the coolest thing about all of this
Yeah.
is being able to show people what I love about them and having them understand that. Like as pet owners, you love your pet, but having somebody else see what's so magical about them and agree with that is crazy. But it
Yeah.
is still weird to me sometimes when people are like, "Oh my god, I love your horse." Not that people are like that, but as I was saying that to my friend, they announced that Harley was coming into the arena, the big Sugar Bush draft, and
Hmm.
as it's weird that people like love my horse. They said like, "Oh, in Harley," and I whipped around like out of body.
It's a
Like,
celebrity. Yeah.
um, I did just get to meet at quite a fair. I got to meet John Lyons,
Oh,
um,
cool.
and that was pretty cool. That was a really special like moment. I'm trying to think who else um, would be a big one. It's mostly horses.
Fair.
If
Yeah.
it's really more horses. I freaked out when I got to meet a Chincoteague pony for the first time.
Yeah.
Um, anytime there's a breed now that I haven't met yet, it's I feel like I'm seeing a celebrity.
That's so
Like
cool.
I
Yeah.
Suffolk Punch,
I saw that
and
video. Yeah.
like so really just like I guess more rare breeds. I really like if I got to meet the Marwari horses, the Indian
With
horses
their ears.
with their ears. Yeah, I like would probably pass out. Like
Yeah.
that's again, it's such a horse girl answer. It's like I can't think of anybody famous, but if I got to meet a horse with these specific ears, like
Yeah. No, I totally get it because we feature a breed in every magazine and we really do like to highlight those kind of rare ones that you don't see as often or maybe don't get as much spotlight. So no, it is cool. So speaking of meeting horses, do we want to go see them?
yeah, you. All
Cool.
right, I just
Awesome.
unplugged us. We're going on a journey together. I'll walk us out.
Perfect.
Well, I can't see my screen at all because it's bright out. I'm looking at the yard. Everybody is clustered. I don't know if that's a bad or neutral thing yet.
To be determined.
Maybe. And I'm also going to disconnect from the Wi-Fi real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, it froze for a second, so I think that's a good call. That seems to be a little better.
There we go. I should be back.
Yes.
There's Chimichanga yelling at me. She gets to stay in her pen when I'm not out here with her because she'll leave. And hi, are you talking? Yeah.
So
All right. Thank you guys for coming rushing to greet me.
they've got things to do.
I know, and this thing is standing a clump over here. Okay. Here we are. There's Debbie. And there's Squid and Nugget. Hi, Nugget buddy. Yeah, you just realized I was here. Mama's here. Chicken Nugget.
Star of the
Chicken Nugget
show.
and Debbie. And then Squidward. And then there's our cheese.
Hello, cheese.
And there's Odin.
So handsome.
Donkey DeVito. Hi. Nugget is trying to get in my back pocket. And then there's Napkin and Dexter. There's the kids in the flesh.
That
This
really
is,
put
I feel like
into.
people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that really put into perspective how small Dawn Napkin is next to Dexter.
He's so tiny. Dexter's a standard sized donkey and Napkin's
Yeah.
mini, but he's like mini. Cheese, I hope you can see, we can't see Cheese over Squid. Or I'm sorry, we can't see Nugget if Squid's in front.
See
Nugget
the
is
ears.
teeny tiny.
Not a Clydesdale.
No, not a Clydesdale. I do tell people he's my teacup Clydesdale.
I mean, that works. So
Yeah.
handsome.
He is. He's a good boy. He's allergic to fly bites.
Oh,
Which it's like, you're a horse, dude.
like you live outside where flies are.
And then people are like, they should be wild. He's allergic to bug bites, dude. He would last a full 45 minutes in the wild before it would be game over. But he's a little itchy and beat up right now, but he's on his allergy medications. He's getting his Zyrtec carrots. And then my little mystery is, so Debbie is a grayed out bay blanket Appaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
She's been rebaying. Like when I got her, she didn't have any of this like flea biting. She was fully white.
Yeah.
And now she's deciding to be bay again, which is not how gray pigment works. But
I've owned Appaloosas and they just change colors how they want. So I don't know that there's any magical explanation for it.
No, they just the LP gene seems to just be vibes based and not rooted in like science or
no
genetics or
pure vibes.
Just vibes, which I think is fitting for this crew.
Absolutely.
Well, it seems we're interrupting nap time, but thank you guys so much for having me, Mary. This I can't, and to everybody at Horse Illustrated who is here, thank you so much, and thank you for what you have brought to my life and so many of my friends and my family's lives, like for the past however many years. Like it's one of the really cool things about getting to do this is being able to work with like how cool that I get to be working with Horse Illustrated on something. Somebody that a group that whose work has brought me so much joy over the years. It's so cool. I've been telling everybody about this. So
oh my goodness,
thank you so much.
Thank you. That is so kind of you to say, and I agree. I think it's really special that through your content creation on social media and our magazine, it just brings horse people together via those platforms, and I think that's a really special thing. And thank you for introducing us to the whole crew. That was a nice surprise. Hi, Squid. So
hi, and literally thank you guys so much.
Of course. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Hayden, thank you so much for your time. I will send over the recording when it's available, and I'll get you in touch with our Liz so that you can meet her cheese when you're in Lexington. So,
hey, all right, I'm excited.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.